What is up, people, and welcome back to the channel. So we're going to move on to the front of the chassis now, because the midsection and back section are where I need them to be at the moment. I think I'm quite happy with how they are. So we need to start attaching the front subframe. So there's a few things we have to do before we can start attaching the subframe. Yeah. So we know the subframe is where it needs to be because it's in my little jigs. We know the chassis is where it needs to be because it's in my little jigs. But we always want to double check that everything is still square, everything's still true, because it can move. Stuff does move. Once you've welded one of these, everything moves. Even me, who's always going on about getting everything spot on and as good as you can, and preventing to get stuff to warp and all them bits and bobs. Jesus Christ, honey, not my fucking bottle of gas over. Stuff still moves. Even on me, stuff moves. It will move. Unless you've got a proper fixture table and you are doing everything the best it can be done, then stuff will move. Do you know what I mean? So with these chassis, where I check personally isn't the dimensions from the subframe to the front of the cage. It's the subframe to the heel board. So it's not this to this. Yeah, we'll take a rough, it's got to be within 5mm, because this a couple of degrees brings this a little bit further forward. You can have 2mm forward here, 2mm forward back there. The way I build these, it's not precision, it's hand bent tube on a bender, and there is discrepancies. That's why we are now proceeding back on with my CAD, getting all this chassis into CAD, and I'm going to approach a couple of companies like Safety Devices and Roll Center and stuff like that, and seeing what the cost would be to have this made by them, bent, notched, etched, so you know where the tubes go, and it roll up here as a kit. And if I buy them in bulk, what kind of cost am I looking at? Yes, it's going to be more expensive than what I do buying the tube and doing it here, because it starts becoming to be needing a lot more involved, if you know what I mean. So what we're going to do is finish off the CAD and see and go from there. Then everything will be identical really well. But anyway, let's carry on. So what I do is I measure from these toe bolts to the heel board, and then from the toe bolt, so like just there, and then this one, heel board, toe bolt to there. So that heel board I then know is square with the two of these. Yeah, because we've done length and diagonals, and you want it to within a couple of mil, really, ideally a couple of mil. So let's have a look. So what, for kicks and giggles, we'll go off this dash bar first. Now the dash bar can be either or, because I know my notcher doesn't cut center. Even though I've packed it and adjusted it and made shims to go in there, this does not cut bang on center. So this is normally slightly out, because when I notch the tube, I spin the tube all the way around and notch it again. So the one notch is on the one side and one notch is on the other. So this is always out, but it's just a dash bar. Do you know what I mean? It's not integral part. It holds your steering column and holds that bar to that bar. Do you know what I mean? It's like these are not really integral. These haven't got to be perfect to within a degree, because all they do is hold the floor together in a way. But the floor, this subframe, the heel board has to be correct because that's your geometry. Do you know what I mean? These could be bloody big circles. It would still do the job of holding the floor flat and true. Yeah? So, from there to the back of this is... So there to there is 300... We've got 370. 370-ish. And there to there is 366. So we are 4 mil. Yeah? So that is 2 mil back. And that is 2 mil forward. That's 4 mil back because my notches are off center. So it's only 2 millimeters out of square. This end, 2 millimeters out of square, that end. So in a way, it's pivoted on the center. So it's only it's not a 4 mil total. So ideally, this one should have been like 368. You know what I mean? And then this one should have been 368, but we're 2 mil either way. I can live with that. Do you know what I mean? So let me just chuck you on the stand and we'll go and dart around the rest. It's going to be a bit tricky. Oh, shit. In the face with a freaking tape measure. Right, so what we got on here is we'll go from there. Yeah. Look at that side, it's a bit squarer. And we are at 1695. Yeah, 169 4.5. 1694.5, 1695. Oh gosh. Ah, motherfucker. Alright. This one 1695. Maybe 1695.5. One 1695.5. So like a mil. And we'll go from not there. This way is 1873. 1873. And this way. Shit. 1871. 1871. Come on. Yeah, 1873. So that's 2 mil. And considering these can be a mil out, you know what I mean? Just they're 90 degrees, but this one could be a millimetre further this way or that way. So, trying to think where else I can prove to you that we're correct. What about, I know that is square. You know that, you go underneath there, don't you? So I just touch my tape measure on that corner. Well, this isn't a bit tricky, isn't it? 2253. 2253. Flip that over. Ah, there's a weld right there. 225. 2252. 225 1.5. So we are in pretty good specs, I think. Do you know what I mean? There is that, which is it's like 2 mil here, 2 mil there, 2 mil on one of them. Mate, it could just be that this subframe is, you know, maybe it needs a millimetre turning either way. Because if you turn this side, that side green. So, you know, we're splitting hairs here, people. We're splitting hairs. So, what other measurements do we want to double check? So, we want to check that the chassis is square still on the floor. So, floor, table. So, sorry, hang on. Running, knocking you about. We're at 119. 19. Yeah, 119. 119. God, it's hard to tell you. 119. It's hard to show you. Because you're just a little camera. What if I make it smaller? Try that. 192, 118 maybe. 118. 119. So we're all 119 apart from this one. So 1 mil out. Okay, I can live with. We'll also check our radius arms mounts against the table. Make sure they're right. So we are at 315 from the edge. 315, and we know those bolts are in the centre because we did them on the milling machine. And then this one, it's a bit awkward because you've got to spin the radius. $3.15 on the side. So I think this is square. Subframe, which we took our subframe measurements from. I don't know if they are the same both sides actually. So from there to there is 548. Five, 4, 7, 6.5, 7. That's not. You don't know if any. These are all. You don't know if they're in the middle, do you? Bottom of. Can't really get into the bottom of the subframe, can I? What about that? So that's 445. Oh, my neck. 445. I'm looking dead straight down from the top. You might be slightly off, but 445. So, you know, we're freaking close, people. That is about 415. 415. Telling you 4. So you know we are pretty freaking close. 415. That's the same. So we know this is square. Well, to be honest, this has to be square because these are square and that's bolted to it. So this is square. The floor square with this. It's the floor square with this table. So you know we are pretty much close before we start making these tubes. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to put those on, which you saw me TIG weld earlier. So we're going to put that on, tube up, tube down, and then we've got the steering rack mount to make. Did I make a second one? I might have one. So that's the one for Leslie's. I think I've got one. I think I've got one made. Steering rack mount. So yeah, and then we've got to put the X in at the top, mount the rack mount to this. These we are not putting anything here because if it's going Honda VTEC, these will be different anyway. But if I look at these, I'm pretty sure the top suspension mounts are where the top suspension mounts are. They have been on the other two I've made, so yeah. Anyway, so let's crack on. This on there, that in there, that in there, that down there. Bish, bash, bosh. Welcome to the show.